Hello there. I have a way too big presentation here at a size of almost 60 megabytes. Now let me open this in 7-zip, which is a archiving tool, which is pretty cool because it allows you to open up PPTX files as well. If we sort by size, you can see where all the space is used. In this case, we have most space used in fonts. Now let's look at the fonts, and you can see there is quite a number of font data embedded into the PowerPoint presentation. You can get rid of it if you open it. We can use the replace function here to replace fonts embedded in the document with other ones. Now let's select the third one from the bottom here and try to replace it with any other font, and we will see it doesn't work because this is a double byte font and this is a single byte font. We need to use Arial Unicode MS, for example, in order to do that. Now sometimes this doesn't work. As you can see, it takes a while, and when I go down here, this font we just tried to replace is still in here. Now this will prevent you from removing unused fonts. Now what you can do is, if you save the PowerPoint, and down here in Tools we have Save Options, and we uncheck Embed Fonts in the file. Now as long as you have the required fonts on your system, this doesn't really matter. However, if you look at the file size, we already got a pretty good 45 megabytes out of this file. Now the next time you want to save it, you can go back to Tools and Embed Fonts, but only the characters actually used in the presentation. So if you're going to save it again, let me close it. We are up to 13, almost 14 megabytes, which is still a lot better than what we had at first. Now I'm going to open it again in 7-zip. We can see the font folder is back, but a lot smaller. And we can go in here to have a look at the actual media in this presentation. Usually this is a series of pictures, and they may come in different formats depending on how you embedded it into the slideshow. So EMF is some meta format, as is WMF. And there is JPEGs, there is PNGs and GIF files. So for the JPEG, this is unusually big. So let's have a look at this JPEG file. And as you can see down here, this is almost 5,000 pixels across, which is way too much for a screen presentation. What you want to do is shrink such files. Either you crop it or use scaling to remove unnecessary data and save it again. Now saving pictures is crucial as to the size they use. So if we count those colors, we can see it's well above 1,000 colors. But still, if you try to save this as a JPEG, I'm going to export it in my picture tool, which is XNView, by the way, which is pretty good as well. You can see that if I'm going to save it as a JPEG, the lettering is really getting washed out. Even though the file size is pretty small, but still it's probably not what we want. If you save it as a PNG file, we end up with 1.6 megabyte worth of data as well, which is probably not what we want, but we can reduce the colors. Even though we have over 1,000 colors, it still looks pretty decent with only 256 colors, and the size is a decent 500 kilobytes. So let me go back here and just save it as image 4, close this again, and this. And as you can see, we have this background picture here at 500 kilobytes. So you can do this for like the top biggest pictures in your slideshow. You don't need to replace everything, as the work involved in this is usually pretty high because you have to do it all manually. Now let me get this picture back into the slideshow. Maybe scale it down to a reasonable size still. And then we just need to put it into the background. Actually send it to the back. That's about it. We can save it. Sometimes it's worth to look at the master slides in order to find memory hogs as well, hidden somewhere here in those backgrounds. You might also be able to remove certain slide layouts, if they're not used, you can simply delete them here and save an additional few kilobytes of space. As you can see, this one is used. I cannot delete it. Now when you look at the picture and go to formatting and go for the compress picture option, sometimes the results are okay, but sometimes it does not exactly do what you want it to. And another thing is, if you use the same picture on several slides, you want to make sure that you import it once and then use copy and paste to make sure that you actually use the same object and the same data again and not create a new object in your slideshow. Once that is done, we can close it again and have a look at our presentation, now even under 10 megabytes. Thanks for watching.